Right. Zoning board of appeals, I don't know if you're
Oh, I like he's National League of America. Not only that, my staff member Brian Augustine is Kim Saxton.
That's it.
We kind of go back and forth about that. Good evening, everybody. So, would you like me to go ahead and? I think that most of you, I see a lot of smiling faces I recognize that know what the Zoning Board of Appeals is all about. But for the edification of those who may not be familiar with it, I'll go ahead and give a brief description. The Zoning Board of Appeals is comprised of 8 regular members and a chairperson, yours truly, who are appointed by the mayor and board of trustees. The zoning administrator serves as an ex officio member of the board. The legal department acts as a staff advisor. And the Zoning Board of Appeals is a final hearing body in most circumstances with only specific types of appeals requiring action by the mayor and board of trustees. I believe those, if I remember correctly, those are instances where the ask, so to speak, is over 10% of what would be normal. The Zoning Board of Appeals, ever since fiscal year 17, we had 21 meetings, but then once the fence ordinance came in, it reduced our workload accordingly to where we had 29 cases in fiscal year 17, 12 in fiscal year 18, 27 in 19, but then 13 in fiscal year 20, and 11 in fiscal year 21. Our caseload is generally, if you look at the department narrative here, is about half of what the plan commission is. And so, as a matter of fact, as I like to say, we never seem to exceed our budget. So we do our job to keep the diligent scope of people solve it and not have any fiscal issues. But as far as the for the fiscal year, the budget for the Zoning Board of Appeals will be the same as last year, no increase expected. Over the past year, the board has reviewed 11 cases and held 6 meetings, which is 1 every 2 months. In prior years, the ZBA has reviewed nearly 21 cases each year. We saw a 5-year peak of 29 cases in fiscal year 17. Next year, in fiscal year 22, we are expecting to review 8 cases. So as you can see, it's even going to, the expectation is for the caseload to decrease even from the small amount that it is now. Cases included a request at 5 Salem Circle, which has many triangular shaped lots requesting a 2-foot rear yard variance. For those who may not be familiar, it's the New England Village property that's over near just south of Gulf Road and a little backpack east of McCormick. No development that has a lot of pie-shaped, irregular shaped properties, and we do have a tendency to do a lot of cases out of that area. A request from Flawless Homes on Main Street to reduce the depth of parking spaces by 8 inches to allow for the construction of a 2nd story. Very important. Certainly helped out that individual, and that goes right in hand with the development too. 2 requests to reduce the number of required parking spaces for a single-family residential use, which is a pretty common ask that we get. And a request to deviate from the maximum lot coverage of 50% to allow for a sidewalk. So that's basically it. I think part of the reason why our caseload is reduced is that potential petitioners work well with staff where they have an agreement to do what's allowable by village ordinance and not exceed, or in their ask to exceed the village ordinances, which means they then have to come to the Zoning Board of Appeals, which actually may delay the project. So it's kind of a good thing, bad thing. It's bad that we don't have a caseload, but in the same time, it's good that we don't have a basement too, because that means things are being worked out. That's it.
Former chairman have a question.
I'm sorry that you are losing your vice chairman. We get to, last Monday, we get to say goodbye to him.
Yeah.
So I hope you'll be working with the mayor to help fill that slot.
I have somebody in mind already that I would like to recommend. I don't know if this is the proper. Yeah, I didn't think so. But it was a shame to lose Alan because he also ran the 4th of July parade as well. And I value his counsel and just his being there to my immediate left for the years that I served as chairman. As I always used to start off my meeting, he would always have his Apple laptop open, of course. And I would say, seeing from the MacBook to the left of me that it's 7:30, we will now commence with me. Because, there's no more accurate timekeeper than an Apple MacBook or an Apple device of some kind. So, yeah, I'm here to serve, sir. Yeah. From a Tigers fan, I mean, so. That's it.
Thank you.
I may have my leave now.
Yes, sir.
All right, I will yield the chair to Mr. Whitfield.
The appearance commission. You guys ready? All right. Hello, everybody. Couple of things or two. So I think you guys are all aware what the appearance commission does, but since Brian went ahead and gave a little pitch, I'll do the same thing. As we look at all the properties, anything that's going to get a building permit, commercial or residential projects goes under our eyes. Approval, then we can move forward with building. Sometimes we have cases that don't ever get built. We're going to try to move on to zoning or planning, some different. Anyway, for last year, we had 62 cases, which is down from the year prior of 72. Our peak in the last 6 years was in 19, where we had 98 cases. We meet monthly, so that works out to roughly 5.5 cases, 5.5 to 6 for the last year. Some of the cases are slam dunks, other ones right now, which is probably going to the third meeting. But generally, when we have those types of cases that go from meeting to meeting, somewhere in the middle. Budget-wise, it looks like the budget's going to decrease. I don't know if postage stamps get cheaper or something. I'm not sure. But the narrative says our commission's allowed 7 members. We currently have 6, so that should be 12. Get somebody. 85% of our cases are on the residential side with the 15 are commercial. Some of the bigger cases that have gone on, new medical office building in Grosse Pointe Road, 100,000 square foot warehouses on Boston Road, Greasy Kitchen, they're super point using totally over by burgers and converted. And some of the other cases that we're on. But anyway, next year they're anticipating 10 more cases. From what I hear, the housing market's really not behind transactions for that. But in my personal business, office space is not very hot, so that's what it is. Well, I guess, sure, but are you finding that this how they're going to model their office, I'm not even talking about the Google, so we're talking about, A, B, and C office, how are they going to conduct business moving forward, because everybody's pretty accustomed to doing it remotely right now. So what does that mean when their lease terminates? Are they going to renew that lease? Are they going to move to a smaller space? So we personally believe that, yes, a 50,000 square foot firm will be a 30,000 square foot. And the space will be laid out, designed differently. Are you doing money saver?
Are you doing much of your work remotely?
No, I mean, when you have superintendents on job sites, so half of our staff is out there managing job sites. We did call everybody back to our office officially on May 3rd. That was the start date, but that only affected a couple of people. So we're hearing everybody's being called back into the office very soon. I think that the worst case it'll be, after Labor Day for most. But when during this thing, there was a lot of leases that expired, and a lot of people just signed 1-year extensions. So I think what's going to happen in my business is in a year from now.
Yeah, I'm just wondering about some of the
yeah.
office space.
Sure. Sure. Over on Gulf Road, you got the Twin Towers, you got the one big corner from us here. So yeah.
Well, and somebody was telling me the other day that at her office, the manager told had the staff all come in for a meeting and said, some of you are going to take some 3 days. And by the way, that office there is going to, 2 people are going to use that office now. It's no one person's office.
Yeah.
And literally from the office space by almost 50%.
Sure. Get back space.
And he did exactly what you said.
Right. So
We're negotiating our new lease.
yeah, exactly. So I'm in a tricky spot right now, but we've been a little better off than the restaurant business was. So we were allowed to keep building this whole thing. So pray for me.
And then,
Just one more. You made reference to the case that's about the urge to be at your meeting.
Yeah.
Is there anything on the horizon that it can end mutually beneficial?
Yeah, because after the second meeting, the neighbor group that's led by a very he's a very smart and polite and professional person who made a great suggestion and said, when we said it was not going to be approved that night, he threw out there and offered to meet with the petitioner, the developer, and I don't know if it's going to be a house for spec or a house for personal use at some point, right? And so they were scheduled to meet amongst themselves in this period between meetings. So
It's nice that a new single family home will be built.
right, it's one of those. We have this happen. If you drive around Scope, you'll see several vacant lots that are 5 and vacancies. Time between 2 homes. Somebody buys the lot and kind of selling it to cheap. Right. And so that becomes a big shock and a big change to the people who live in the neighborhood. But it happens, it happens a couple times a year, see. And sometimes you get neighbors who don't show up, some that active group of neighbors. I give this group of neighbors a lot of credit. They were very, we gave them a lot of latitude. I give them a lot. I let anybody who wanted to speak. So I didn't narrow it down. That's kind of tough to do on Zoom, so, but we handled it with them and so it's comes after their meeting. And of course, it won't be at the next meeting, but I'm hoping that they can come to mutual agreement.
Will you let me know?
I will. I know that you've been called on it, so, but I'll have to check with Matt here. and see what the plan is. I'm not reaching out to the neighbor or, it's not my staff to hook them up with emails or contact information so that they can, so I'm sure you get public feedback, staff will get feedback.
So we just play man.
What's that?
We just play man.
Right.
I'm good for it.
Thanks, Mike.
All right, yeah, sorry, we probably took too much of your time.
No,
Great. Anytime you guys have any questions, that they know how to reach me. If you have any cases where a customer or a citizen reaches out to you about us, feel free to call me and discuss.
thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you very much. Okay, on to the next.
We got to be good. Thanks, Mike.
See you guys.
Thanks, Mike.
They are now.
Yeah.
They're coming.
How are you?
We are. I've been waiting for them.
Where do we fit?
How are you?
Hello.
The last time we saw you, the Caribbean background.
No, I think we had a swearing in.
Okay, that's right, you're right. That's right. It was a 7 o'clock, right? I mean, I don't know if you know the story. The German was making a presentation for his high school. In the background was a beautiful water, beautiful.
Palm trees blowing.
And I can't remember, was you who made asked him, or he said, I hope you enjoy the vacation or something.
I remember, yeah.
And he was down in Floral Avenue.
I love it. I love doing that to people. I did to get every duck. Where are you? You know, the story is I'm maybe some of you know I'm one of the many hats I wear. I am the chair and CEO of the Illinois Co-op. So the deputy governor, I tease him all the time because I was in South Carolina playing ball when he called me on Sunday. So you know that I'm never going to forget it. You're never going to forget it. It comes up in almost every conversation that I keep saying. And then where's Michael Lord? Then Michael Lord does this to me too. I didn't know this was this much work. You know, this is a lot of work.
Actually, my exact words was, there's nothing to it.
Yeah, this is a lot of work, you know, and next month in June, we have fire lieutenant interview, so 27, I think, so we have 3 days.
You better bring this together.
You know, it was quiet, and I'm gonna blame John. I begged him last year to report that we should keep going. But then we were. But you know, the police lateral process we put in place is going to help a lot. You know, we got on deck, qualified, you know, people, the time, willing to get out. You know. The fire chief was in here, he used to be packing up back here.
I'm sure.
But I think with the some of the school service officers, you probably won't have head count dealing with the fire.
Question?
Questions for me? Our budget is being cut. I can know that. Budget is being cut. $12,000.
is the commission that literally does the hiring for police and fire?
All the first responders, and our budget really is the onboarding cost to do that. The psych exams, the testing that has to go on, a lot of the things we do are part of our union contract that we have to do. For example, we're about to interview 27 people for lieutenant, but we have to, there will be a first responder from another village that has to sit in and witness all the interviews. But just we devote a lot of hours, 4 hours.
Yeah.
I knew you'd enjoy it though.
I'm always curious about this with this psych testing. So how does that work? Do you get outside people to do the
Yeah.
psych testing?
Yeah.
And you have to go by however the psych test comes out? And if somebody doesn't get a certain score, then they can't even be considered? Is that
No, it's just another tool for us to evaluate and make a decision. They don't make the decision for us. They just provide us.
And then you look at the information and decide whether somebody is
Yes,
fit enough to
right,
be,
right. Each commissioner, we basically vote
you vote
on.
on.
Each step along the way, there's multiple steps on one board. The interview process is one, the sites are one. Each step we vote on.
Where is the psych testing in the process?
The site is after the interview.
So first there's an interview and then
Right.
there's,
Yeah.
thank you.
So if they don't make it past that, we're not going to extend. the money
Right.
To do like that.
That's what I was thinking. I
And
don't wanna-
sometimes they get to the site and they don't make that.
Yeah.
That typically, when they get to the site, because I think we had this discussion the other day that, all of us are, some are very long. We have a first deputy, retired first deputy in Chicago, who just joined the board, and a tremendous asset to the board. Michael in there, he is really just great person. I was, and not biased. Sometimes you have people who are in their job for a long time, so he's always right. He's very fair, very fair-minded, and a great asset to the commission. And then we got Burl, who's been on the commission a long time, so he provides a lot of history. And we've got, Helene, who's been a really president a long time, and then Nicole, who's relatively young. We got a great cross section that represents commission. And I think we try very hard. I think fire is easy, just to be honest, because we rarely get any turn anybody away from fire. You have got to have it in you to want to go run into a fire. You just do. When you come and you want to get up, oh, come on in. Yeah, come on. So we have very little turnover. It's not 100%. We just lost somebody who resigned, other fire department. But police is hard, very difficult. In this state and time, in this last year, it's going to be more difficult to get that, especially to try to get diversity. The challenge in fire is diversity. There is a sheer, I won't say lack of. We have a deputy, a female deputy, which is definitely historic, I think, in fire. But when you look inside the ranks, there's very little diversity. But that's not uncommon for fire, especially in the suburbs. But it's something we keep an eye on. But it's very difficult. We're not getting applicants, and it's something that we're just gonna have to work at. Police is the difficulty is trying to find the right candidate. You get a lot of people that want the job, but not here, not in our village. There's a high standard that we have to, even if we don't fill positions, we go through a lot of people, but we have to find the right people to serve our village. It's important to have keep it a safe place. What is a safe place for everybody? And you need to have your
Can you repeat what she said? I heard nothing. Sorry.
And
I didn't know somebody was over there.
Where is he?
Trustee Perslogan.
From the heavens. Allison, is that you?
Can you explain the process from when an applicant is screening
Well, what happens is, we work with an assessment center, testing for public safety and ION solutions. And what they do for us is they help us pull together the packet, the application packet, so that and then that's sent out to various organizations, community organizations. It's posted on the website. It's made available for people who are interested. They apply, they complete that packet, and then that assessment center reviews everything that they've submitted to make certain that they comply with the requirements. And then once they do that, then they will forward that list of individuals over to us. And then that's when we'll start the actual process. So they'll come on board with us.
I would sit here and try to look at what all the stuff that we have to do.
That's why I'm here.
And while you're getting your notes, Deborah, I'll just mention the recruitment part. When we are at the point that we need to establish a new eligibility list, usually those lists last about 2 years. And so we have to go through a cycle every couple of years to recruit applicants. And so we now have 150 institutions and community organizations that we communicate. We're going to be opening up our application process and really start with trying to really advertise the opportunity for people to apply for the position. And so that's the initial step. And I can handle that stuff. It's very easy. Like Deborah gets into it.
So once they go through that, that's when we'll start the actual vetting process to determine whether or not they're going to make it through. So we conduct the interviews are conducted by the board of fire and police commission. They actually interview all of the candidates. So the fire chief and the police chief are there, but they don't participate openly in that process. It's left up to the board. We will do a background check with them. We'll do a psychological eval with them, and that happens on the last day. We'll do a medical examination for fitness. We'll do a drug screen with them as well. So they flow through the process. If they can be knocked out at any of those areas, so they may not make it through the entire process. The very last thing that happens is the psychological exam, and then the medical fitness drug screen. So they go through a series of events, if you will, to get through the process.
I should go there and schools or does something like this or
But
I was thinking about getting local community and the applicant pool, particularly for fire.
Yeah.
Do we have like a measure program or something that will plug in young people to the field where they would be interested?
One of the things that we're doing is as John mentioned, that 150, the list of 150 organizations. They're community-based organizations, they're schools. And what we also do is we partner with an organization that does that works with diverse groups, so that it goes to various types of organizations, different types of organizations. And that whole announcement, once we decide, once it's time to actually start the event, the process, an announcement is drafted, it goes out to all of these different organizations. And they have the opportunity to spread that, if you will, to their constituents. And then people can apply. And that's really how we get our people, how we get our candidates, is through that process. So we rely on it heavily to help us to get the word out to people so that they can indeed apply. One of the things that we're looking at doing, too, and we've talked about this, is getting to some of the from the African American community, to get to some of those that are a part of various sororities and fraternities, to go to those organizations to help us get the word out to the people that the positions are available.
In addition to that, the equity team, this was right before Deborah started with us, the equity team wanted to have the village's internal equity team that we talked about, wanted to have stronger connections with the high schools. And so we have reached out to the high school district and made our employees that are interested in being on the speaker circuit to come into any class that's interested in a specific profession, that we're now have identified specific employees that are interested in wanting to do that opportunity. And we've connected with the high school and offered that, and they were very receptive to it. So we've started that type of connection. And then we also have the Explorer program in the police department. And so the teens that are interested in getting a firsthand experience in the police department are able to join the Police Explorers. We've had that program established for decades. And so that's a really good opportunity for individuals that want a little bit closer look at what a career at police could look like. And then we use them as volunteers for different events in town. And they have, people may be familiar periodically, they'll have a car wash fundraiser. And so they're in town making a positive impact as well as getting exposed to the police profession. In the fire department, we have not yet developed that type of program. The fire schedule makes that very, very difficult because they work one shift and then they're off for 2 shifts. And so we have not overcome that hurdle yet in the fire department specifically. But those are the things that we've been thinking about making progress within outreach and
One thing fire does do, coming from my other position, is that whenever there's a block party, usually the fire truck, their emergency response vehicle goes out in the block, and it's a great way for they get very kid specific, they get in the truck, so that the kids can see what it's like and I think it's really raised up their standard, especially for fire. And I think fire has a different standard too when you talk about first responders or police. And it's only going to get more difficult as we're seeing now. But we've added the lateral transfers this last year, which is going to give us be able to tap a pool of experience. Our police officers, if we had openings right now, we probably would have 8. We could fill 8 of them with experienced police officers right now.
I was just gonna piggyback on what Kim was saying, and then you answer it, John. I think we have to start younger, to start message that, this is an opportunity for young people of color, diversity, to put that in their heads, that it's a possibility. Right.
Especially fire.
Especially fire.
Police, people know what that is. And I think the times are going to make that more difficult. You see that our resource officers in the schools turned away. So I think it's going to be more difficult to get police officers. We're going to be in a position that, because of our lateral transfer, I really foresee that we're going to be able to benefit from other people's challenges like PPE. And we'll have a pool of, we have great officers that have transferred over, not through the lateral transfer, but just because they came here and they've been excellent students. This last year, we had some really excellent ones that had prior PPE experience. So we're getting the benefit that they're coming in and they're already already have serious hands-on experience, both like new who come in like this last year and they're like, oh, I can't do that. And we made all this investment in them. And they figure out like, no, this is not something I can do. For someone who transferred, they've already dealt with that and, you're brand new in Chicago, you're in the hardest district in the city, but by majority. So being able to get them, it's going to be that. And it helps, we had some diversity, a couple of officers there. So just another way to tap and increase our.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Keep up the good work. John, you're gonna give me a shot, so.
Okay, thank you all. Bye, good
Good
seeing you.
to see you.
Oh, okay, okay, thank you.
How are you? Good evening, welcome. Thank you.
Mayor?
Sure.
Hi, Mike.
Makes it a lot easier for everybody
Are you?
here. We're all vaccinated.
I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Well, you might have.
Great eye. Alex,
I can start?
please.
All right. Well, this is the first time I've done without a mask in this kind of meeting, so this is nice. But anyways, good evening, Mayor, committee members, village trustees, and staff. This evening, I represent the Human Relations Commission, chaired by Maria Mansour Bueno, who could not be here this evening. My name is Alex Chaparro, and this evening, I'm excited to share with you an overview of the Commission's work. The Human Relations Commission was created to encourage understanding and respect between Skokie residents with various racial, ethnic, cultural, and religious backgrounds. The Commission is actively involved in enforcement of the Fair Housing Ordinance and sponsors human relation workshops to further equal opportunity for residents. In addition, the Human Relations Commission further expands its diversity mission through partnerships and programming. One is block parties. The Commission actively promotes block parties and block party application. As proud representatives of the village, each of our commissioners volunteer to attend block parties throughout the season. The Commission recently, or last year, hosted its first block party coordinator forum, which featured a discussion panel of past Block Party of the Year award winners and partnered with the Skokie Police Department to promote the village's Block Captain program. The Commission also awards and judges the Block Party of the Year award. We also participated with the National Seed Training. The Commission showed leadership by sending one of our commissioners to the National Seed Training, allowing us to offer a train-the-trainer program. Many of our commissioners have completed the 9-month seed training program sponsored by Skokie Cares organization. Coming together in Skokie, the Commission is proud to foster a partnership with Coming Together in Skokie. We offer yearly programs open to the entire community, promoting the highlighted culture of the year. Stand Against Racism. The Commission is a strong supporter and participant of the annual Stand Against Racism. Black History Month, in partnership with the Skokie Library, we sponsored a program for Black History Month, hosting a book discussion, film viewing, and musical performance. Festival of Cultures, the Commission also partners and participates with the Festival of Cultures, sponsoring an ad in the program book, and our commissioners volunteer during the annual event. Skokie Pride Celebration. In partnership with the Skokie Park District, the commission promoted and participated in the first Skokie Pride celebration, which was a tremendous success. Let's Talk at Lunch, conversations on race. Let's Talk at Lunch is a partnership with the Evanston YWCA. Our partnerships include the Skokie Library, Skokie Police Department, Park District, and school districts throughout the year. Lastly, our chairperson partnered and participated with the District 69 Parents Plus program. And this concludes my presentation. I thank you for your time, and on behalf of our chair, Maria Lansor Bueno, and the commission, I thank you for your support.
Thank you. Great report. Any questions?
I'm just impressed with what you do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really do a lot of work.
It's a great group, and we have a great leader in our chair. She wanted to let you know how much she wished she could be here today. And but we've done a lot of great and through the work that you do in the commission, continue to be a inclusive and diverse community.
Yeah, thank you for being here. See you.
Have a good in the neighborhood.
You
You got
next.
it.
Where we go?
Roger. The guest of honor, Chair.
Yeah, Mark.
Hello, everyone.
Oh, maybe straight up answer.
And then right here.
Yeah,
Right
right
here.
here.
I brought some security with me. That's all.
Yeah. You have good work.
And well armed. too.
And well, that's good.
Good evening, everybody.
I am fully back.
Mayor,
Hi,
Trustees,
my map.
Paul.
Yes.
new trustees, old trustees,
Yeah. Experienced trustee,
experienced.
One owner.
That sounds like a bad thing to say.
old trustee.
Mark, when did you?
Yeah, I think I was here.
When did you shave? That's in the last month. My wife likes it, so I like it.
Because he's been wearing a mask for a year and he forgot to
That's right.
shave under the
Just
For
mask.
those of you
Just
that
around here.
don't know, Mark is our vice chair. Well, to say the least, I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad to be anywhere. Whoever said that, be curse about me, losing in between times, didn't know the half of it. It's been a long year. We've spent a lot of time on one project. The mission was given us a mission. Okay. And we've spent all of our time on this particular project. Our agenda has been just that project. And it's been interesting. We've heard from members of the community talking about use of forest projects. And we are preparing a report for the village for you, Mayor. Which you'll probably get, if I'm correct, in July. July. That'll be on the agenda. But Mark and I will be there. That's okay.
Will soon, Mark.
But I'll be at the lake with the cocktail.
You gonna let me go alone? Oh, never mind.
I'm sure we'll figure something out.
I'll get your stuff. Anyway, and that's pretty much what we've been doing all year long. It's been interesting. We had members of the community come, various groups come and talk to us. And we'll say, further the police department, police officers. I think you'll find it quite interesting. We're looking forward. That's our story. Oh, the commissioners have asked if we didn't get a raise.
Tell them 100%.
Relay your remarks. That's all we have.
Well, I would echo what the chairman said. It's been an interesting project. And look forward to the draft. The plan is to post the draft recommendation on the village website no later than Monday, the 24th, but more likely tomorrow. It's going to be posted on the website and open for review and comments to info@hope.org by the community. We promised a minimum 3-week public comment period. So the public comment period will end June 14th in advance of the June 16th public presentation. So it's been a great Mark, Paul, Chief Davis, Samantha, everybody's been just we've got her, and the community is very engaged in the exercise.
You've heard from what, 16 different groups?
16 different communities. Yeah.
And some other individuals.
You've held hearings every month
Every month.
since.
Different
September.
October.
Different groups.
Yeah.
Every month. We had- First, everybody was there, and we had very important shows. So, one group, one day we had just a police force. And they sold himself short, but it was the guy in the spirit.
He has been doing a great job and will continue.
Yes, absolutely,
I want to watch my kids.
and that's our story. It's a good one.
Questions? Comments? Look forward to the report.
Thank
yeah.
you.
I'm
Thank
sure
you
you'll
for all
find
your
it-
hard work. I've been at each of the meetings and like Dan said, everybody's very engaged, very thoughtful, very respectful of the process and really good,
A great process.
a great process.
Maybe one other little thing to add, is be mindful of the draft in coming days. It was actually, all the discussions were with the entire commission and then a small cadre of human relations commissioners, along with the community groups. But the actual development of the draft occurred over the last 2 weeks, with Baker and myself, and then a small cohort of 5 commissioners. And we met, we had what, about 10, 12 hours on Zoom, going through and developing the report. So it truly is the product of the commission.
There were a lot of very talented people
Yeah.
involved, so.
And feel free to,
Mark was on that group that,
I'm not talking about myself. I'm just talking about the whole, everybody in the process.
I just want to share the responsibility.
and feel free to watch any of the meetings
Yeah.
on YouTube. They're all out there for
They're all there.
everybody to see.
I don't know how many hours there are. It's a lot.
Oh, there's quite a few of them. That's been commented at, right, that somebody commented, in the public that watched it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think that's a great job.
In fact, watching how he swears.
I'm not commenting.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Good to
Very
see you
kind.
in
Thank
person,
you.
Mark.
Good to see your face, Sean.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
I want to make sure you meet Samantha Maximilian. Samantha is one of our engineers, and she's a liaison to the commission.
Samantha's done a great job being on the premises.
Over the mic. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you,
Thank you
Chief.
all.
Thanks.
I see.
Bye.
Sorry for the
Oh, you're-
Okay.
COVID complicates it. It just does.
Open complicated quite a bit.
Now it's time for the prettiest of the.
Fine art
Thank
tradition.
you. Trustee Paul.
Well.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Great to have you.
Thank you. Good evening. Susan, Trustee Klein, Trustee Tucker, new faces who I hope to get to know better in the not too distant future. Just for new people, I just wanted to give you one sentence worth of history. In 1966, Skokie established the Fine Arts Commission. It was the first municipality in the state of Illinois to have a Fine Arts Commission. So we've been around a long time. Our mission is to encourage, support, and promote the arts in order to enhance the quality of life in Skokie. We do this in a number of ways, and I wanted to highlight a couple of them for you tonight. In pre-pandemic times, we were a granting commission. We had two different kinds of grants. Cultural grants that went to schools to bring in performances, also to help subsidize artists and residents. And we had project grants that were larger grants that we would give to performing arts groups or a Skokie entity who was bringing in performers. We understand that times are difficult and that we've had to suspend that grant program, but it is our hope that as things return to some semblance of normal, that this program can be restored in the not too distant future. One of the other programs that has always been one of my very favorites is the SOAR program. SOAR is Student Outstanding Artist Recognition. And it's a student art show that we have in the lobby of the North Shore Performing Arts Center every March to coordinate with Youth Arts Month. Most Skokie schools participate. The art teachers select 15 to 20 works of art, and they come over at the beginning of the month and put them up on these big felt boards. And then they're on display in the lobby for the whole month of March. And around mid-March, we have a reception for the student artists and their families. And it's a thing to behold. I'll tell you, we have these little kids in fancy dresses, and sometimes the little boys wear suits. And we alternate junior highs, but we have a junior high music ensemble that plays background music in the lobby while people view the exhibit. Then everyone comes into the auditorium for a short presentation. The mayor says a few words, I say a few words, and usually we'll have a guest speaker who's an artist with connections to Skokie. He talks to the kids a little bit about their journey and some inspirational words for any students who might want to pursue an art career. And then the best part, the kids go back to their school board, and the mayor and any trustees who would like to join move from school to school and take a picture with the students. And they get so excited to have a picture taken with the mayor. It is like the biggest treat in the world. This is a very well-attended event. We often have between 1,000 and 1,500 people in the lobby of the Performing Arts Center. That used to be something that got me all excited. Last year, we were able to put the art up at the beginning of March, and then the shutdown came, so we never did have the reception. It would have been our 20th anniversary year. So assuming that our commission can resume meetings in September, which I hope we can, one of the first things we'll do is kind of discuss how we can reimagine SOAR, how we can do something to showcase student artwork without 1,500 people in the lobby of the Performing Arts Center. But that's a very exciting program. One of the programs that we have been able to maintain is a community photo exhibit. We used to have it in the lobby of Village Hall, and we transferred that online very easily because Ann did all the work, so it was easy for me. We had a fall exhibit. The theme was Fall in Love with Skokie, and we're currently soliciting photos for a spring summer exhibit, and the theme of that is warm days, warm hearts in Skokie. So we're collecting photos, and they will be up on our website until the end of August. We also have Artistic Excellence Awards that we give out to an individual and to a group who have really gone above and beyond to help the arts in Skokie. In 2019, we gave the group award to the Skokie Theater, and the individual award went to Mr. Nick Wyatt for going above and beyond in terms of making connections with artists in the area. Thank you so much. Also, we had just started talking about about a new project when the shutdown came. We were thinking about having some sort of a family arts day, maybe in conjunction with one of the Sunday farmers market things, where I was kind of envisioning something on the Skokie Green, Village Green, where we could have some different stations, maybe a dance station, something for art, a drama, music, and children and their families to kind of move around and actually participate in some artistic events. We thought maybe we could tap into some of our community arts partners to sponsor that. So we're hoping when we resume in the fall that we can do some more brainstorming about that and maybe look to do something in the summer of 22. So we're a very busy commission and we love it that way. We haven't met in a long time, but we're hoping to get back as soon as we can. Can I answer anyone's questions?
I love the SOAR program. I can't wait till we can do it again. See those kids' faces and the mayor take all those pictures. As we know,
I don't know how much you enjoy it, but the kids.
Yeah, but by the way, it's not me that wants to pick you.
You were the bookend with the mayor.
But what gets your attention though is when a young person comes in and says, I just graduated from graduate school and I have a photo of you at SOAR.
Yeah.
You know, well, obviously I'm a little prejudiced, but I think the arts are so important. And anything that we can do to promote the arts to all age groups, but especially with schools to make sure that they keep arts in their curriculum and anything that we can do to recognize these students. You know, there are always those kids who are probably not going to get recognized for anything else, but they have this talent and we're happy to help with that.
Amazing.
you could see them beaming when they're by their projects and their families are around them.
Right. Parents, sometimes the grandparents will
Right.
come and take a picture of them. It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
And I think the last one before the COVID is we had great participation school-wise.
They
So
did
that was
17
very
schools,
nice to see.
Right, right. We have public and,
I think so.
I think so, public and private schools.
Preschools?
Yeah.
Preschools.
So it's wonderful. So I hope that we can do as much as we're allowed to do next March. Hope to get back to that.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
September.
Ann.
I'll be
Thank you
there.
so
You
much.
haven't seen the last of these.
Yeah, thank you.
Great
Oh,
job.
thank
You have one more, Ann?
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
How are you? We're good. We're good. We'll put you there. All right. Get you vaccinated. We're all back.
Oh, glad to hear that, Mayor. How are you, sir?
Hi.
Hi.
You know, for the- you know,
I think we've met in the past.
Yes,
I know. Past life.
everybody will.
Start, Mayor?
Or it's all.
Absolutely. Glad to hear that. I'm so glad that Skokie remains beautiful, Mayor. You know, even though we have this pandemic, Kathy and her crew, you know, they do a nice job as always. And I'm glad to say that my team remain engaged. And even though we had this pandemic, you know, back in March, we had the homeowners and business owners award. And that's the crowning point of our commission, I would say. So we had about 100 nominations, actually, and about 60 that says yes,
we are on board, and then 35, of course, were the winners. You've seen the live stream, you know. And that was a very nice presentation. I'm patting myself. on the back.
It's always wonderful.
Thank you, Mayor.
Always wonderful.
And of course, we'll continue our Arbor Day. We did one back in April. We'll continue to participate in that. And then, of course, in sometime in September, even earlier sometimes before September, we do planting or spruce up event for some part of Stoughton, right? What are we gonna do with this? I have. Okay. We'll take a place, we'll spruce it up, make it. nice. Yeah. Absolutely. So, any questions? I mean, there's really, again, this summer, we're gonna start again the nomination process. So I'll have my team going out there and looking at homes, who's doing what, making sure.
A lot of work.
It is, Mayor, but it's worth it, you know, we enjoy doing it. My whole team, they enjoy doing it, and, you know, at the end of the year, we come up with good selections.
But in the residents who get chosen, really love it.
Yeah,
And there are several that come back. You
right,
can tell how much.
right. And there's a multi-winners there, I mean,
Yeah.
multi-year winners. And it's just too bad that we didn't do it in person this year.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, in the past, they all enjoy it.
Oh, no.
I will say too that during COVID, my favorite time is walking in the neighborhood and seeing all the beauty and people working in their gardens, because that was something that people could still do
Sure,
during COVID, and it was nice to see that
yeah.
happening and see all the work that people were doing, gardens and
Yeah, it makes me proud, you know, to see the neighborhood looking nice and beautiful. My only disappointment is, or my wife's disappointment, is she can't win. She really works hard on her. We almost got nominated. One of the commissioners came up and said, "Oh, we're going to nominate you." They told me, Adalia, wait a minute, this house looks familiar. So, yeah, that's the only disappointment in my life. I mean, I've been in this commission almost 30 years. So.
I think we might have to.
Well, one of these days.
Well,
Yeah. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah. So it's my pleasure. Again, I've been in the commission for 30 years and I enjoyed every minute.
And you're always so up. You know, always. I've never seen you not up.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Preston. Appreciate it.
I appreciate it. I really do.
Well, thank you.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, everyone. John,
Great to see you.
Hi, guys.
Bye.
How are you? After the floor is all yours.
Those comfortable, I think they're allowed to put that in that table. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
Just be sure I don't see my thing, so. That's the hazard of wearing a mask.
We're all fully vaccinated.
Fully vaccinated, so. All right, well, thank you very much for asking me to be here this evening. It's my first experience. So let me know if I'm getting off track, but I thought I'd give you a little description of what we do at the Board of Health and some high points and just open up for any specific questions. But first of all, the purpose of the Board of Health is to work together with the community to promote and protect human, animal, and environmental health in a fair and compassionate manner. And I think that's pretty
care assessment. I was surprised when I came on board, we were actually looking at wildlife issues, rat issues. So this encompasses that. I'm new to being chair of the Board of Health. I was appointed in June of last year, but I've been on the board for about 6 years. So I have some familiarity with it. We went on hiatus between March and August because of the quarantine and shutdown lockdown. But since September, we've been meeting on a monthly basis over Zoom, which I think we're all getting acquainted with in terms of how that can be a blessing, also limitations with Zoom. You're on mute. But that's been going really well. And our focus has, of course, been on COVID issues. And Director Charlie has kept us up to date on what's happening with the statistics in the village in terms of the infection. And also what's going on with the COVID vaccine clinic, which I think has been a real success for the village. I want to say also that members of the Board of Health and also the Medical Reserve Commission or Corps have been volunteering at the vaccination clinic, which has really been, I think, interesting to interact with the residents and providing a service that I think they really appreciate. In addition, we've had COVID-based discussions with some of our expertise on the board, and we're really lucky to have these folks. Dr. Mike Vernon has been with the Illinois Department of Public Health, but he's also given us insight in terms of the Illinois surveillance system for infectious disease and COVID, and also some ideas about the sequencing that's going on for the genome of the variants that are circulating around, which is getting a lot of attention. So we're staying on top of that as best we can. And then Dr. Ed Lynn, who was an OB/GYN specialist at Rush, gave us an update on what to do with the question of do we vaccinate pregnant women and women who are breastfeeding. And he did research and he gave a presentation to us because coming up with the vaccination plan, can we safely vaccinate them? And the answer was yes, you absolutely can. In fact, it's to their advantage and to make them for passive immunity to fetus as well. So we've been doing that. I'm not aware of any issues that have come up with vaccinating pregnant women.
Do they give a time at what point that they can vaccinate pregnant women? I mean, at what point trimester?
I'm aware that any trimester is appropriate because women who get COVID during pregnancy are much worse off. So we're trying to get women vaccinated across the whole spectrum. Now, whether you would vaccinate somebody who's going to labor, probably not. But we got that confidence from Dr. Lynn that this is something we can go ahead and do. And we really appreciate that expertise on the board.
Thank you.
We've also had a presentation from the Turning Point Behavioral Health Clinic and their experience with the pandemic now going on a year and the mental health issues that have come up with the residents that they see, clientele that they see. We've also had other areas outside of the COVID issue. One is bike safety, especially now with all the kids getting out riding the bikes. And two of our board members are volunteering at the police department bike safety initiative this Sunday afternoon. And we've also been looking at the issue of flavored tobacco and nicotine devices, particularly the vaping, and what we should address in terms of the village, in terms of looking at restricting that, because it is a health hazard, whether it's the tobacco or the nicotine delivery devices. And we also had a resolution recognizing the tremendous effort that the scoping departments, as well as the volunteers, have had in addressing this pandemic. It's really been, you've heard the expression, all hands on deck. It really has been that. With the first responders, the police, public health nurses, they've all been stepping up, and it's been a pleasure to work with them, get to know them, but also the volunteers that we have. So I just wanted to give you a highlight of some of the things we've been doing at the board, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
And I heard yesterday that CDC, Dr. Fauci said that it looks like in the fall we're going to begin the booster So do you have any insight into?
And I hear what Dr. Fauci said on TV, nothing more than that. But it wouldn't surprise me, especially what we're seeing in India with the variants that are traveling, and those variants are already in Illinois. So Dr. Vernon was able to point out with the testing that's been done. So right now, we're going to hold on and find out. It will be another challenge. And, you know, is it going to be the same types of vaccine? There's some discussion that maybe if you have Moderna, maybe you should get the Johnson Johnson because of the boost in the boost. That's why it's called a novel virus. We've never seen this before. You really have to take the direction from the CDC, the NIH, what direction to follow.
Well, I think I speak for the board. Thank you for everything that you do. Your guidance for this past 14, 15 months has been studied. The board and our director created the Preserve Corps. You talk about foresight, the quiet kind of work that you have to do day in and day out. We were doing the kind of tracing before, just like anybody else was. And that's not the thing from like before we snake it.
And I think we're very fortunate. Yeah, I think that
We're very fortunate.
in fact, I was doing contact tracing as a volunteer back in March, April.
Yes.
And that's when I really appreciated how this pandemic affects people. Where overnight they're confined, their job might be in jeopardy. It really was eye-opening.
Question?
Before COVID and when there was a different director and Dr. Kennard, we had been working on a vaping committee, like a committee that consisted of social service people, kids from the high school. I can't remember all the different people that Beth had invited, but it was really very enlightening and very important because the high school kids were giving us a lot of information about what we were doing wrong in terms of the vaping. And I just wondered someday when we can be real again, if we could reconvene that group of people together. I don't know if Beth left the information about Dr. Kennard, who both attended those meetings, if they left the information about who was there, but I can try to help put it back together if we could do that, because they wanted to continue meeting and come up with some ideas on how to discourage kids from vaping.
Yeah, I can answer that. I'm looking forward to getting back to that business as usual. I say business as usual, anything but COVID. So that's certainly something that should be a priority of the village. And I think that working collaboratively with the school district, the students, the teachers, the social service agencies, it's so important to move things forward in that direction.
All right, that's the other thing. All there were administrative people in the school that attended.
Yeah.
About that, yeah. Because it was the principals talking to the students that were kind of shocked by what the students were saying. Like the punitive thing doesn't work. It's not about being punitive. It's about being educational, social services. Because the kids were telling us that most of the kids that were using had core issues that weren't being addressed. And so getting back to the behavioral health. And so just a lot of good conversation came out of that. And I just think it's good to someday, when it's appropriate, continue those conversations.
That's a great suggestion. And we're also very fortunate that we have Dr. Larry Williams, who's a national authority on issues around tobacco and nicotine.
Yeah.
He's spoken on a national basis. He's a dentist at Western University, and he's a great resource.
If Dr. Kennard teamed up, it were, I think I can say, responsible for the tobacco 21 state legislation. They were both down in Springfield and helped author the bill in the Board of Health. It's one of the things I think we're all, I think that legislation is going to save lives.
unfortunately, the tobacco industry is finding other ways of peddling their products.
Right.
Making and flavoring, so it's an ongoing challenge.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you, Dr. Come up with that.
See you later, Mike.
Yeah, see you all day. About 5 minutes.
Yeah, we have to rotate you in every couple of times.
Keeping me awake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody make a board plan to figure out how to make an estimate that can pull out the food again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Doctor.
Very well done. Thank you, Doctor.
Joanne.
Hi, Joanne.
If you're comfortable.
Otherwise, you won't be able to understand me. I'm Joanne Haberlin, and I'm Chair of the Consumer Affairs Commission. And I would like to just first take this opportunity to say thank you for hearing a little bit more about what the Consumer Affairs Commission does. The commission has 10 members: Rahul Chaudhary, Viju Krishnan, Ed Levine, George Matthews, Syed Mahmood, Howard Meyer, Anil Pillay, Pratap, and me. And our commission mainly helps with 2 village events: the Business of the Year and the Farmers Market. In addition, we help with consumer information meetings, feedback and consumer questions, and various commission work together items. For the Business of the Year, we have developed a nomination form for any Skokie consumers to fill out. And I'm going to leave them with you because I want to make sure that all of you fill out one of these. Okay? That would be awesome.
Televising it and then giving feedback that we can't do.
Okay.
Thank you.
That a couple of years ago, Merchant of the Year was morphed into Business of the Year, to include service businesses as well as storefront businesses. After nominations are received, we send out a questionnaire to the businesses to learn a little bit more about them. Questions include, and we really ask a lot of questions of them, so we get to know them. Questions include a description of their business in their own words, how long they've been in business, why are you in business, also professional certifications, how do you grow your business and remain relevant, highlights of employee training, how do you give back to the community, why do your consumers select you instead of a competitor, and what are some of the reasons you feel your business would be a good choice for Business of the Year. Then the Consumer Affairs Commission does the hard task of evaluating an award, and it is usually many hours long. The 2020 Business of the Year was Kaleidoscope Dance, and the newspaper did a really nice article. The 3 runners-up were Affinity Smiles, Houston Watts, and Cassandra Strings. Honorable mentions went to Kaufman's Deli, Friends Place, The Crazy Grease, Service Master Restoration, Culver's and Skokie, Saffron Rolled Ice Cream, Tub Tim Thai Restaurant, Weiss Properties, TBK Grill, Gulf and Crawford Auto Service, Aldi's, and Panera Bread. And the form that I gave you, you can either fill it out online or you can turn it to Brian Augustine. Like fill it out. Or else. It's an order. Our second village event is the Farmers Market. The market opens this year on June 6th and runs until the last Sunday in October. This year it will return to the parking lot
and those fall in the library. The market this year has a new market manager, Nasco, and he was the assistant manager last summer.
I'm still getting a message that I got a couple of things. So we're gonna move it even closer.
Okay, I'll look this. Lean forward, okay.
Thank you.
Let's see. SNAP program will again be in effect. That's the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And North Shore Health System has given us $5,000 to match. And except for last year, we've had various entertainment at the market, which is fun for both the patrons and the kids. Music, we had a magician, balloon twisters. This year, we're still finalizing all the details on what we can do. The Consumer Affairs Commission will have a table in the village tent where we can post info about this for the year, give a little extra publicity to the people, the businesses that won the award. And I don't know how many of you were at the market last year, but we started a joke of the week. And I won't even tell you any tonight, but it seems to resonate pretty well. And it was suggested that maybe we should continue this joke of the week. And some children's activities. Oh, now this is another awesome thing. We're going to get another goodie from you. Our market loyalty card program will return this year. Loyalty cards are handed out free to shoppers and can be stamped by vendors on a rotating basis. If they fill out the card, they're eligible for a free gift at the end of the season. Now, I'm going to hand these to you, Mayor. And don't take just one, because you're delegated to take 2 or 3 or 4 or however many, and give one to your neighbor too, so that they would like to come check out the farmers market with their loyalty card. A lot of our vendors are really long-term. They've been here 20 years or more, but new vendors are added each year. And if you've never been to the market, you can shop for fruit, vegetables, plants, fish, prepared food, flowers, and you can even get your knives sharpened. I think that's all.
Joanne, are they gonna do link cards then, like they've done in the past for the farmers market?
I think that's the SNAP program.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
And how does that, can you remind me how that works?
The individual gets a card from the state that they're eligible. And then we actually hand them out tokens that they can give to the vendors and then we use and North Shore Health System. So if they want to spend $10, North Shore Health System donation would be $20.
Oh, and then they could just go shop.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So that eliminates the problem with certain vendors that want to take the stamp card.
That's right,
I
yeah.
have not heard of them, no.
So they use the tokens and then the village reimburses them for the.
Thank you. Yeah, I like that.
I lunch there.
Okay. I'll move to approve that.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
I have missed you all. Greatly. Okay,
Yeah,
good.
every Sunday.
We have some new vendors this year too.
She's got from there.
Yes.
Good.
One more thing. I have to give you. Since I had Nick give it to me today again. This is the list of the vendors.
Oh,
Oh,
Wow.
So if you want to pass that around and see who's here, and you'll develop favorites and all of that sort of stuff. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanne. Good to see you.
Oh, you just broke. Thank you.
started
Thanks, Joanne.
fill the car up and get a car.
Michael? A good cheese.
Good. Smoked mozzarella, nothing better.
Welcome.
I'm up. No. Overachiever. Too much air. So yeah, so unfortunately, Harold Primack, the chairperson couldn't be here tonight. He sends his regards and apologizes. My name is Mike Charlie, and I'm the Director of Health and Human Services for the Village of Skokie. And I'm one of the liaisons for Commissions on Family Services, actually. Brian McHugh, one of our social workers, is actually going to be assisting with this commission also, sharing many of the meetings. So I'd like to tell you a little bit about the commission tonight, and I can certainly try to answer any questions you have. So the mission of the Commission on Family Services is to help improve the quality of life for Skokie's most vulnerable persons, regardless of age, physical well-being or socioeconomic status, through public information, education, and advocacy. The commission has helped coordinate that biennial Boomers and Beyond Senior Resource Fair, which offers programs and services designed to help people live independently and maintain an active lifestyle. Over 40 service providers and 300 seniors attended the last fair in 2019. Of course, because of COVID, it didn't happen in 2020. I'm looking forward to the next one we actually can do. I think they held it at Oakland Park in the past. I think that's just an awesome event for a demographic that is always a little more vulnerable, right? The commission also helped organize educational programs for seniors, such as showing of lives well lived, an entertaining documentary that celebrates the wit, wisdom, and experiences of 75 to 100-year-old individuals. The commission has worked collaboratively with the Health and Human Services Division of St. Paul Lutheran Church to collect food donated by the Skokie Farmers Market vendors for the Niles Township Food Pantry, which is a great thing they do throughout the farmers market season. Before the pandemic, the commission was developing a program for handicap accessibility awareness. The program is conceived as 3 parts: a yearly award to a Skokie business that went above and beyond requirements to provide accessibility for people with disabilities. Part 2 would be a performance of handicap discs intended for high school students and their families to increase awareness of issues faced by people with disabilities. And part 3 was a collaborative program with JJ's List, which would provide training to employees of small businesses on best practices for interacting with people with disabilities. This was before the pandemic. They started working on this, so it's sort of been placed on hold. But when the commission does return to regularly scheduled meetings, they will reevaluate these programs as well as identifying new initiatives within the scope of their mission. I do know since I've been here, we've had 1 meeting so far, and hopefully as things get better, we'll continue to meet more in the future. Soon. Thanks for the time. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Okay.
I mean, I will say that the commission is looking forward to meeting again.
Yeah.
I've heard from several commissioners. Ready to go.
Awesome. Great. Okay. Thank you, guys.
That in the boards and commissions portion. Trustee Sucker did have a motion that she wanted to make for that. So the floor is all yours.
Yeah.
I'm right here.
You want to?
You can be by the microphone.
Yeah, we're gonna hold just one, please. Trustee Sucker had a motion.
I wanted to make a motion for the board to consider. This has to do with the refuse fee. My motion is that the board approves the manager's recommendation for a refuse fee with 3 phased-in years, including continuation of twice-a-week garbage pickup. The manager will report to the village board on the status of the program at next year's budget hearings, with the understanding that the board may amend the fee structure as required by the data. The board, secondly, would direct the Environmental Sustainability Commission to review and study ways to increase recycling, including but not limited to food composting, textile recycling, technology recycling, and recycling of plastic bags. And then during budget season next year, the board reassesses the need for twice-a-week garbage pickup, taking into account the Environmental Sustainability Commission's recommendations. So I wanted to throw that out there for the board to consider.
Second. Trustee Klein. Are there any comments or questions? Clerk, call the roll. Yeah, the model would be something similar to what the public safety commission has done on police and done on environmental sustainability. Yes, that would be, I don't want to put words in trustee Tucker's mouth, but I took that to be implicit.
That's what I was envisioning.
Acceptance of my.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, go ahead.
Trustee Sutton,
Aye.
trustee Robinson,
He's here.
trustee Robinson,
Aye.
trustee Coon. Trustee Johnson,
He's not here.
trustee Slovin,
Aye.
trustee Klein. Aye.
Aye. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the Performing Arts Center. It's all yours.
Okay, all right, well, okay, if we're fully vaccinated,
We're all back. We're all fully vaccinated.
might feel me a little better and I might suffocate. Okay.
We're all fine.
So I'm Michael Falcon, I'm the general manager
Mike,
of.
can you pull the mic close to you and maybe tip it up like that?
I'm Michael Falcon. I'm the general manager of the North Shore Center for the Performing Arts. With me to my left is Alan Chili, who's vice president of operations for PFM and Management Company. And then Terry Goulet, who is the chair of the Performing Arts Center Board. And first of all, for the benefit of the new trustees, I just want to just a quick little summary of the Performing Arts Center. The building was built in 1996. PFM, Professional Facilities Management, has been managing it since it opened, and has booked programming in the facility 2009. We have 2 theaters, a 318-seat sort of black box 3/4 truss round theater, which is home to Northlight Theater at present, and we have an 867-seat main hall, which gets by a variety of shows across the year. Pre-pandemic, in a typical year, we have about 150,000 people come through the building attending events, and we end up with performances and events nearly every single week of the year. We also have a robust education program called Youth Theater that will typically reach about 12,000 children in a year. Overall, the center is an economic generator. The economic impact estimate is about $6.9 million, which is based on a national study of performing arts centers, and we put that criteria and applied it to Skokie as best as we could. And about a third of that's probably restaurants based on our own informal surveys, but it does spread across other channels, whether it's the purchase of supplies and other items, people that are in the building performing or For example, a North Light production or any play that might be there for 6 weeks of all the actors that are there for multiple times, multiple days or extended days. All the dance recitals, which were fewer people we're going through right now. A lot of folks come through, they eat, shop, do whatever, run errands in the area. So it's a very big economic generator, and we're very much a regional center. We draw people from all over. In fact, about 90% of the people that attend the center come from outside Skokie. Skokie, Evans, and Combine are about 20%, but a lot of folks come from all over to attend various shows that we do. Just quick on the website, we have 319,000 visits a year, under 1.7 million page views, email list of about 53,000 names. So pretty robust operation, which we are eager to get back to. And I'll start off with our, tab 8, I was told, is where you will find the budget packet that we provide.
Thank you, everyone. I would say that, it's been a difficult year. We're in the event business with no events. So, it's been very difficult for us in all the facilities that we manage around the country. For the fiscal 2021 for the North Shore Center, we'll end about as good as a finish as we can. We took some quick action last April to reduce staff and cut expenses. We eliminated about $900,000, equal to about half of the expense side of the center's budget. We also secured $260,000 in COVID relief funds, which was a PPP loan, and then a local loan that we got from
State of
Illinois, and
not a loan,
a grant, right? And with the PPP was the forgivable loan that we received, and we still expect the deficit close to 100,000. But in April of this year, we applied for the federal shuttered venue operators grant. And if you're aware, that began by Senator Schumer in New York to begin to save the Broadway industry originally, because it's been devastated. And from there, they thought we should add the road, which is the road Broadway. And then from there, they said, let's add all music venues that have fixed seating. And then they added museums. So at the end, it became a $16.2 billion grant program that we have applied to. And our president tomorrow, Lynn Singleton, is in New York for a press conference in Times Square with Senator Schumer, who championed this bill, and where Skokie will receive, if approved, which we believe because it was a difficult grant to apply for, and there's been no question to us. So we're hoping that's good news, and that will help us not only fill the deficit, but help us get some traction on moving forward. Because although things are looking better, it could be a slow start. People may not all want to come back. All right, so this is a springboard to start the industry. And in the last few weeks, we've seen a big churn in our industry from, it seems like lumping along for a while, but it seems like things have turned. And I've been on some calls recently with New York people and touring people, both Broadway and single night shows, and they're restarting the industry. So we really feel good now that we'll be in better shape in the fall. It'll be somewhere between like $810,000 and $850,000 for the center, because it's prorated on how much loss you have, and then you get 45% of your gross revenue from the 2019 calendar year. So it was a substantial grant for the purpose of trying to take an industry. I mean, New York City was devastated. So it began there, but I think we'll all benefit now from the program. So we're hoping to find out within the next few days how we did with it. But
with respect to programming and events, obviously indoor performances were not possible last year. So the center launched our Outback Summer Sessions concert series. It started with some seed money from the North Shore Center Foundation. We expected it to be a few concerts. It ended up being 19 concerts, attracting 3,443 socially distanced patrons, and generated about $44,000 in artist fees for hundreds of working hours for center staff who would have otherwise been laid off. By all accounts, a success. We are going to do it again this summer, starting on June 11th. After the conclusion of the outdoor concerts in October, when we finally had to get into the weather, we continue to be used for a lot of streaming events. So organizations with theater, we're aiming to record or even stream live some music performances. And then we also participated with some of the artists either that we have brought to the center or maybe want to bring to the center on 8 no-risk streaming shows. Not big revenue generators, but no risk. And we would make a commission on each sale through our website. It was a really an important low-cost way for the center to maintain a connection with participants. We also did 2 blood drives. We had some time to do that last fall, and they were very successful using our e-blast, introducing, or not introducing, but for diversity blood centers, there's a lot of new donors to them, and so we hope to do that in the future when time allows. And I can get to the next.
Center operations. So due to the pandemic, the center has been operating with a skeletal staff of 4.5 full-time equivalent employees, down from our original 12 full-time pre-pandemic staff. Everyone working has taken at least 1 furlough day, while our hourly personnel were laid off, and stagehands and other event people would only be brought in when we had like the outdoor concerts. And the box office hours were reduced, and most of the sales were handled online. And PFM has taken a number of steps to address the pandemic-related health and safety issues. Beginning last spring, we required PFM and Northlight staff entering the building to sign a screening affidavit that they were healthy and COVID-free. As performers and audiences have begun to return, temperatures have been taken upon entry. Face masks are required for all patrons and staff in the building. We purchased 2 electronic disinfecting cleaners for cleaning the facility, and science showing that fresh air became a very important thing in all of these. And so PFM researched the capabilities of the center's HVAC systems and learned that the system serving the 2 theaters, main lobby and administrative office, produce a complete exchange of air every 15 minutes with a mix of 25% fresh outside air. And on that SVOG grant we spoke of, it covers all personnel. It has delineations of what you can use it for. It's personnel, insurance, it's all PPE. So all this cleaning equipment that we've purchased, all that is covered by this grant. So we'll be able to reimburse ourselves in the village for everything that we purchased with the money that we get.
On the capital improvement front, just prior to the pandemic shutdown, the center installed a telecoil assisted listening system in both theaters. I think we got to use it in the main theater like once, or maybe twice, and then not at all in the small theater. But we are looking forward to, when we launch, having those having that system in place. And if you're not familiar with it, it just means that if you have a T-coil with a hearing aid, you don't have to check out one of the headsets to give your to get enhanced audio. It's automatic to your hearing aid, which in the post-COVID era, people touching things that other people touch, the whole thing. So this way, it's pretty seamless. We'll still have the headsets for those who don't have the T-coil hearing aids. But our theater, to the best of our knowledge, is the biggest such facility that's equipped like this in the Chicago area. And we're really happy to have that system, and thanks to the North Shore Center Foundation for putting the money together to help us make that happen. While that was happening, Village of Skokie, through its capital improvement fund, replaced the roof over the main lobby and the offices, and that's the biggest of the roofs. The previous year, we did the roof over the offices, or over the backstage area. So the biggest and the most complicated roofs to be done. With respect to the foundation, even though there was no benefit event last year, the foundation was still able to raise $104,390. That did include the biggest chunk of that was the Rice Foundation grant, $70,500. The Rice Foundation has been an ongoing supporter of the center year after year. They open, we submitted a request every year to the capital projects, programming initiatives, even just the support to help us as a staff to raise additional funds. So they're really definitely an angel for the center. But what was also nice was that partially due to the outdoor summer concerts, we raised $18,409 individual donations by 5 of us now. Raised, and Ann serves on that board as vice chair, and Howard Boney is the chairman, and I think you will agree it's right now, we're very dedicated, not even off from Skokie. I mean, there's some people that in Chicago and Redbridge and Winslow, and so it's a really nice board that cares a lot about the building, they support the shows, they're very supportive, we're lucky to have them. Now,
Looking ahead to fiscal 2022, emerging from the pandemic, the fiscal 22 will be a bridge year as we transition back to normal operations. We expect it to be somewhat inconsistent and challenging. As we spoke of when we wrote this, things have improved since we put this together a month ago. But by the fall, we believe that the performances will be able to take place in mostly a normal fashion with 100% capacity. In addition, many touring artists need continuous routes. And given the patchwork of capacity restrictions across the country, there is some concern about how viable such tours will be. Because as you know, touring shows stop somewhere and they tour around the country. So you really you need to be able to go to all states, all cities in order to get the tour to be able to go around. One of the things that fortunately we have with the North Shore Center is some of the comedians and the artists that play North Shore are booked as fly dates that are not based on tour booking. So as opposed to a routing, sometimes the show is booked and we'll just cherry pick some cities and come out. So we'll be good with that. But we even believe that the industry is really coming back. So it seems like we've made some progress in the last month. Phase reopening, including capacity restrictions for events that we're currently hosting, will continue to ramp up throughout the year. Staff will be rehired in a phased approach as events and financial stability warrant. With the rapid increase in revenue generating events, at the start of the new fiscal year, we will begin with restoring furloughed employees to full-time status. Laid off staff will follow once there is more certainty about finances for the coming year. And all staff, whether full-time or part-time or volunteer, will be required to be fully vaccinated. We will continue to take a measured approach to work to get back to the financial success the center enjoyed for most of the past 24 years. And this budget is reflective of conservative revenue uncertainty because of the cost of the reopening of the facility. Been closed for 14 months and more than a year of deferred maintenance and the cost of implementing the new COVID era protocol. Again, you know, we don't want to count the money before we have it with SVOG, so we're kind of marking time waiting for that to come back. So hopefully if we do find that out, we'll be able to, you know, instill the confidence of the community and get shows back on into the building by fall of 21.
Is this okay to ask a question? Sure. Some people ask me who had tickets to shows in March of last year, what will happen to their tickets? I guess they said that they're saying that the person will be coming this year and they'll just use their tickets then.
Ticket, yep.
Okay.
That's what we've emailed out to our customers, and we will be reminding them when we get closer to those dates, like the Bodines, like 30th December, such date, but then we have a couple in the fall that actually were the ones that we just remember last March.
Yeah.
Now they're in October, and we will be communicating to them again closer to the time that you show up with your original tickets, and it has a different date on it because we just moved the show. And if they need new tickets, so we've had two in Boston, they have a record, so you know.
It is a year ago, more than a year ago.
As long as they bought it through the center, if they bought it through a third party broker or something, but if they bought it through us, we get them.
And if they can't go to the show, we would refund.
Well, yeah, because of course,
Right.
yeah, and that's happened a couple times where we have, as we move the show, some of them 3 times, they, you know, people have said, oh, I think on that date, and that's fair.
I think they want to really go, they're just waiting for the day they can.
Amazingly, we've been really happy that Stephen Wright and Robert Craig in particular, Stephen Wright, who's artist Robert Craig, they're both over 600 tickets sold into those shows. The vast majority of people have come. They want to see the show.
And you're saying that you can do, that you're thinking you're going to be able to do it at capacity? So those 600 tickets, you think you can?
Oh, yeah. Hearing soon as next month,
Right.
Yeah.
which we're not. So if it's legal by June, I certainly think by September, October. it should be.
And are you thinking that people will come masked even though, or depending on?
We're telling everybody that they should, if they're purchasing tickets, be prepared to wear it. Now, maybe the circumstances will be different by the time the show happens, and we'll evaluate that. We're following what the CDC, the governor is saying, all that. But right now, we don't want to give any false promises, so we're saying, be prepared.
Okay, looking forward to it.
We're trying to remain optimistic,
Yeah.
but cautious.
It's been a difficult 14 months.
It's been a difficult 14 months for your business for sure.
So on the revenue side, so you'll see the revenue spreadsheet on page 6. FY22 marks the first with our new resident company, Music Theater Works. And if you're not familiar with Music Theater Works, they have been around for 40 years, performing mostly at the Con Auditorium over in Evanston, formerly known as Light Opera Works for most of their years. They changed their name to be a little more reflective of some of the contemporary musicals that they want to start doing. They will occupy the Center Theater, our main hall, for 9 weeks, and the smaller North Theater for 5 weeks in this next fiscal year. And they're also participating in our Outback Summer Session concert series. Very excited to have them. They will bring up not only some new audience, but also popular titles to them. Meanwhile, Northlight Theater looks like they will continue to reside at the center. They're resuming performance in September, and I should say continue to reside for the foreseeable future. I'm expecting at least 3 years. They don't own any building or property yet. They had to put the expansion plans on hold due to the pandemic. And so we're happy to have them as long as they want to stay. And
Okay.
you said it, not me. Those two organizations, plus Music of the Broke and our Future Series, they're going to provide a solid base of events beginning in late in the second quarter of 2022. As Alan said, we continue to be cautious about the revenues generated from events. It's not quite sure, like, will they sell out as much as maybe they used to? People have the ability on the website to pick their seats and see if they're, how full the theater is. They might say, it's looking kind of full, I don't want to go, whatever. We're going to have to wait and see what happens there. But that's one of the advantages of the shutter venues grant that Alan spoke of, is that, it helps cover an artist fee. The show doesn't sell as much. The whole point is, for that grant, get businesses like the North Shore Center for Performing Arts back on the feet. So we're optimistic that's going to be coming forward. On the expense side, the spreadsheets, lots of numbers, pages 7 and 8. Obviously, the pandemic disrupted our finances for the past 2 fiscal years, just the tail end of fiscal 20, but it's going to continue into FY22. And so we have tried to be cognizant of that. There are a number of issues that we hope to address. One of the things we're going to be doing soon, and already started to do, is watch a lot of our frontline people. So we're going to have to put a little bit more effort into recruiting and training staff in a tight labor market. So we don't always have to spend money, on Craigslist or whatever. But we are starting to do that again. The restoration of we will be restoring in time, in a phased approach, our staff to we expect to be back to pre-pandemic activity, but we're not doing it like with a light switch all at once. We've been gradually bringing people back. So, for example, the folks that were furloughed but still working, they came back to full time first. Box office hours are gradually increasing. We were down to 12 hours a week at one point, and now we're up to 20 hours now. So little by little, just be cautious as we go through. We have some marketing obligations pertaining to the Theater Works first year of their lease. We need to
to do for them. We'll be implementing those things in the coming weeks. We do have a bit of a backlog of maintenance issues, things we deferred because of the pandemic, which we'll be turning our attention to. And then we also have some costs associated with the PPE, but essentially with the upgrading our HVAC system to Verve 13 filters. Not only do those filters cost a lot more than Verve 8s, but they also make the system work a little bit harder. So we expect some additional costs, back maintenance, high utility costs because of that. But those Verve 13 filters, they trap larger particles that dust particles that to which viruses attach. So it's a good thing to do. Potentially better thing to do, which we'll see if that's the cards down the line, is the bipolar ionization, which is a system that you can install into the airflow of your HVAC equipment that kills viruses as it passes through this process. Then you can go back to the lower grade filters. There's a lot of stuff there, a lot of complicated stuff. But EFM's building their own installed bipolar, so we're going to let them be the test facility for a little bit, and we'll see how it goes.
What are those costs?
It depends on the specifics of your HVAC system, but for our building, it probably would be around 80 grand. But like for example, yeah, it might be a little less, but it's just we have a lot of RTUs. So, but we'll see. Give it just a little bit more time. The box office expenses are mostly just basically personnel. So as we ramp up the retail hours, those costs will go up. As we on the programming side, so I mentioned earlier, we're bringing back the Outback Summer Sessions concert series for a couple months. We do have to end it this year in August because we have music theaterworks coming in with production of Mamma Mia right after that. So we won't be running into October this year. But our expectation is that Mamma Mia will happen inside with no capacity limitations. Worst case, it'll become a concert version of Mamma Mia in the parking lot. But right now, we're planning to be inside. One thing we've learned last year is the argument pivot was relatively short.
How many people can you fit in the parking lot?
This year, based on the new guidance from the state, we pegged it at 318 actually. Ironically, since we're a small theater inside, but legally we're actually able to go a little higher than that, so about 340. But we also want people to feel safe and not too crowded. That's a 50% increase over last year, so that might be. One thing that was nice about outside is we had the Kaleidoscope dance recitals last week. It was the first one of that outdoor event this year, where we actually did have people in every parking space instead of every other parking space. It went very well. Everyone was comfortable, there were no issues. So it was a nice little test run for the shows this summer. One of the things we're proud of also, we do this all the time, but especially with our summer concerts this year, we partner with a lot of different performing arts organizations in the Chicago area. So the Chicago Philharmonic Orchestra, Ensemble, it's my goal, Porchlight Music Theater, and so forth. It helps us reduce our risk by doing these partnerships. We don't have to pay the artists, quite frankly, and they share risk and we share risk, and together we hope to achieve success. In the fall, we begin our feature series again. It's been the cornerstone of our program for a long time, and we are always really proud of the diversity of that. I did in the back of the packet, I think that I have the list of the shows that are booked so far. But as I look at what that list includes, it's not just, yes, we have some African American artists, but Mazda Rani, for example, is a comedian of Iranian descent, so he's American, but Iranian descent. This is his fourth time in the building, and I remember the first time we brought him in. We, the marketing and people and myself, we were going up and down places like Kedzie and the city and Aldi Park, going into the businesses and telling people that he's coming and so forth. We sold the show out. He's done very well for us, and what's really great when you have an artist like that, you bring in different people to the building. That's not the same people that might come to see a Broadway singer, for example. And it's really rewarding, quite frankly. And then Jake Shimabukuro, who's he's actually Hawaiian, but he's a ukulele virtuoso. He has his own following, and by having this diverse array of performing artists, we are able to bring in, like I said, so many different people. They don't come to every show, but over the course of a year and in subsequent years, we're able to bring in that programming. And Terry and the board are very supportive and encouraging of those efforts. This year's capital improvement project, again with Rice Foundation support, we were able to obtain or we are purchasing or soon installing some additional sound and lighting for the North Theater. Right now, the center doesn't own any sound system for that space. It's the equipment that belongs to Northlight. Now it's going to be a multi-tenant space. So we are now going to have equipment that we sort of have to be a little more turnkey, like the main hall is. I've already mentioned with respect to resident companies, Northlight's plans to resume, and Music Theater Works coming in the summer with Mamma Mia. It'll be in October with Ragtime, and in December with Billy Elliot. So pretty good musical theater titles for the center. For having their audiences in the building. Questions? Not much.
Well, we have some, we never talked about coming out center. I thought we have some new trustees for the trustees. So maybe Alan, Terry, you just give a brief summary. What is PFM? And then Terry, maybe you can talk.
Professional Facilities Management, PFM, was established in 1989 as a management company kind of in the performing arts. So, you know, companies like SMG and Spectra, those are like, they run arenas and big stadiums, and our niche was the performing arts and smaller venues. So we manage about 7 buildings in 6 states. We also invest in some touring shows, both Broadway and one-night shows. And we manage the North Shore Center. We have a building in Durham, North Carolina, the Durham Performing Arts Center, a 3,000-seat building that does touring Broadway and contemporary shows. We also have 2 buildings in Florida, one in Fort Myers on the Southwest Florida campus. It's a 1,900-seat building, and it does touring Broadway. On the east coast of Florida, we have one in Coral Springs, smaller building, community building like the North Shore Center, where it does the local and some one-night business. And we also manage a building in Providence. Well, we own and manage the Providence Performing Arts Center, which is a 3,200-seat performing arts center, historic Old Lowe's State Movie Theater. And we also manage a Veterans Auditorium, which is a 2,000-seat building next to the State House in Rhode Island. So you can imagine this year has been, it wasn't, you know, every theater closed. We had no events anywhere. So it was this pandemic, I said to Michael and I said earlier to the village staff that if we knew 14 months ago, we would have had Michael and one maintenance man in the building, but we kept moving the goalposts because people kept telling you, you'll be back in business in the fall, and then it'll be in the spring, and then it'll be in the summer. So it's been very challenging, but I think we've gotten through fairly well, and, you know, keeping our core staff. I mean, I think we might have lost one person, but, you know, in most of our buildings, we've tried to, you know, be recognized. You know, these people were out of work, and sometimes with stage crew, it could have been a husband and a wife both worked for us, and they both were out of work. So we balanced the best we can, and, you know, some people got furloughed for a while, but so that's what PFM is, and we really enjoy being here in Skokie, and this challenge. You know, it took 25 years for us to. It took a pandemic for us to have a bad year, but we believe that we'll be back in the fall at full boat.
On behalf of the board, well, it's tough to be a head of a board that hasn't met in 14 months. And we're looking at getting back in the game in September. Normally, August is an off month anyway, so we kind of work there. What we've done for the last 8+ years is basically have the pros that know about where all the shows are and what to do to propose them to us. And we maintain a veto that's used very seldom, maybe once or twice a year. That, but basically, I'm glad to hear that, one, I haven't had anybody retire or walk off the board, so I think we have the same crew together when we're ready to go, hopefully knock on wood. But it's been a very collegial group, because we kind of all agree that, we're here to make sure that the finances are good and all of that. I will say that when I got the report coming up for this event, I was putting my hand to my face saying, how bad is this going to be? These guys have done a phenomenal job keeping this place going and actually keeping out really good financial space to be in, which really kind of takes all the pressure off the table. These guys are great. So really, hopefully by this September, we're back up and rolling. I'm anxiously, I'm bringing the group of 10 to the Boarding concert. It's coming next month. I can't wait. And I was, when the discussion started, one of the people that was talking about it was saying, yeah, they're having the Boardings are going to be outdoors. No, it doesn't sound like that they would be doing that. Let me check. And when I told everybody that this is going to be an indoor concert, none of them were everybody's, I think everybody's ready to get back into these things and do the things you love. So I'm looking forward to this fall, this summer and fall, and great time for the theater.
And Michael is the general manager. And for the
We were talking about that earlier. I've been there going on, it'll be 19 years in December, so 18 months, what, 18 months, 18 years, 5 months. Yeah, hard to believe, isn't it?
19 of 25 years.
Yeah, been a long time.
It's been a great relationship.
Been fun, most of the time. So this year.
Any questions?
Thank you for
Thank
everything.
you.
Well, thank you very much for your support over the years.
Looking forward to getting back there.
Yeah, look forward to seeing you all.
Thanks so much.
Alan, thanks for everything.
Thank you very much, Mayor.
Diane.
Send Michael.
Yeah, here he is again.
Ready? Don't you have something else to do tonight?
I want to sleep.
So, we're gonna put in Bruce.
Bruce.
Good evening. Great to have you.
I feel like I want to give you guys a standing ovation.
We can only go down the hill.
Yeah. Do you want me to introduce you?
Sure. So my name is Mike Charlie, and I'm the Director of Health and Human Services for Village. And tonight I'm joined by Mr. Bruce Jones. He's the Environmental Health Supervisor, and Sue Reesberg, the Personal Health Services Supervisor from the village. So tonight I'm going to share a few highlights from the past year before discussing our budget proposal and plans for the coming year. First, I wanted to say how grateful I am for the village board support, for the village manager support, for the COVID-19 pandemic. And really, I mean, without the support of the village board and everybody within the village, this couldn't have happened. I know you guys stood up and clapped, but it's really been a team effort. I mean, you see how many people are working at Clemens every week, from a lot of first people in the village management department there, and volunteers, and it couldn't happen without it. So since January 9th, 2020, when the World Health Organization announced a mysterious coronavirus-related pneumonia in Wuhan, China, the world has never really been the same. Throughout this pandemic, the Skokie Health and Human Services Department has had to adjust and adapt services to meet the ever-changing demands created by this virus, you know. I mean, we were business as usual, just like everyone else before then, you know. Administering flu shots, screening people for different things, doing food inspections, and in the blink of an eye, we had to adjust pretty quickly. Skokie had their first resident case on March 14th, 2020. Since that date, Skokie's had over 6,300 positive COVID-19 cases. Health and Human Services staff have responded to each case, including contact tracing, providing expert consultation to residents, businesses, long-term care facilities, daycare, schools, you name it. I think we've had everyone in Skokie call the Health and Human Services Department to consult. In December 2020, 2 vaccines got their emergency use authorization, like Pfizer and Moderna. The Health and Human Services Department was ready again and prepared to administer vaccine to Skokie residents, healthcare workers, working collaboratively, again, everybody in this room, and all village staff. I mean, it is every single department that's out there. There's not one department, there's probably not one person at Village Hall that has helped us with this clinic. We've administered over 26,000 doses at that clinic and at several other locations around the village. So we've done this with efficiency and a professional manner, with our patient safety being our number one priority. And again, I can't thank Sue and Bruce enough. You know, while I'm sitting in the office on my computer, they're overrunning clinics. I know a lot of stuff happens inside the office too. The village board, residents, businesses, churches, and organizations have responded also by following public health guidelines, some set by the village board to ensure the safety of everyone living in the village. I wanted to thank everyone again, but especially village staff. Over the last fiscal year, the Health and Human Services Department hasn't only just been COVID though. We consolidated with the human services and the health department together as one unit, where we created new efficiencies and we started collaborating. And I think it was a really great move by the village manager's office and the board to make that happen. I see there being a great synergy between the two departments. Our employees work hard every day to improve the quality of life at Skokie by ensuring safe food and water, maintaining vital birth and death records, controlling outbreaks of infectious diseases, administering life safety vaccines, not only COVID vaccines, providing for mental and behavioral health screenings and referrals and linking those residents at Skokie who are most vulnerable to needed services throughout Skokie and beyond. And I'm really, I arrived in November of last year. It's been a whirlwind, but I'm really proud of this department and its employees. I think we have some really talented, professional, licensed, certified staff in the health department. And I think it's really great to have a health department in the village. So I'd love to move on to talk about the proposed budget. Our budget for fiscal year 22 is $1.4 million. And we expect to collect about $628,000 in revenue from grants and fees, which will cover a significant percentage of our budgeted expenditures. The budget includes several unique divisions that work collaboratively, including health administration, human services, environmental health, personal health services, and our grant programs, each providing essential services to the village. One significant new initiative that we are currently piloting is the village's co-responder program. I'd like to say a few things about that program. This program is in collaboration between the village of Skokie's Communications Center, first responders, that's police and fire, of course, the Health and Human Services Department, and social service organizations throughout the village of Skokie. The co-responder program pairs first responders and social workers to respond to behavioral health related calls for service, whether it be police or fire. The village is utilizing the combined expertise of police, fire, and health and human services to de-escalate situations and help link individuals with behavioral health issues to appropriate services. Now, this whole responder, program has different objectives, not only de-escalating situations, but providing immediate care, support, and advocacy, referring and linking those individuals to needed services right away with this pilot program. We're hoping to reduce recidivism because we see a lot of the same individuals that call for service. We're also going to provide follow-up and ongoing case management for these individuals. And we're also looking to increase the number of calls that social workers are involved with. Now, we've done a hybrid to this prior to this, but this is new. I mean, we're actually out on site for this pilot project. This program was initiated by Trustee Sucker, so thank you. We requested that the police department collect data on mental health crisis calls and village stakeholders be involved in this process. In addition, many community stakeholders presented at the Public Safety Commission confirmed the need for this pilot. In regards to next steps, we'll be using data collected from this pilot and lessons learned to inform our next steps. So we'll know more at the end of May as to the next steps. Right now, I don't know until we look at the data and really what the next steps are, but we'll be providing those recommendations to the village manager's office and to the village board. As part of the budget submission, I submitted a memo also titled Skokie STAR Program Budget Recommendation. With this memo, I'm recommending that the village board consider eliminating the Skokie Senior Transit for Area Residents or STAR program during fiscal year 2022. Just to tell you a little bit about this program, the village of Skokie has offered the STAR program to Skokie residents since 2001. To be eligible for the program, a resident must be 65 years of age and or is an American with Disabilities Act paratransit certified individual. This program provides curb-to-curb service for these individuals, essentially Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. You may be asking, well, why would you recommend eliminating such an amazing program? Since the STAR's inception in 2001, the STAR program has experienced an annual net loss. Since fiscal year 2010, the average net loss is $135,763 annually. Over the last 10 years, the village has observed a net loss of over $1.3 million. Another thing is just this program only serves a very small percentage of Skokie's population. I calculated out to last year with 60 residents only participating at 0.09%. Fiscal year 21, only 7 of the 60 participants use the service on average once a week or more. So most, that would be 653 of the participants really use it less than once a week, if at all. The program has observed a decreased participation annually since at least 2007. What's really important is with the current fiscal position the village is in, this fiscal year might be the right time for the village board to consider eliminating the STAR program. The STAR program can be phased out over the next year. Human services staff are prepared to provide one-on-one assistance for existing participants, helping them with a smooth transition to one or more of the available and alternative modes of transportation, all of which are outlined within the document provided to the board. The next program I'd like to talk about is vision and hearing. So in fiscal year for attrition, we lost a certified vision and hearing employee. And our plan for fiscal year 22 is to hire a certified vision and hearing contractor paid through the Illinois Department of Public Health Vision and Hearing Grant and a small user fee. Our goal would be to make this at a cost. So it would cost any general fund monies. The money's already supported by revenue and grants. Finally, there is one notable project that will start in fiscal year 22. That's the Health and Human Services I-Plan, Community Health Needs Assessment process. This is a year-plus long process that is completed every 5 years, where the Health and Human Services Department will partner with various community, public, mental, and behavioral health stakeholders to identify public health priorities to focus on as a community for the period of November 2022 through November 2027. This is a needs assessment process that is one of the requirements of the state certified health departments. It's something we do every 5 years. And it sort of sets an agenda of things to focus on as not only as a village and a health department, really as a community, because this is a community process and it really requires everybody to participate. And the last thing I wanted to say again is just thank you for your ongoing support of the Health and Human Services Department. We really do appreciate it. And I don't know if we feel the love, but we definitely feel that the board has always been, good. At least since I've been there, you guys have been awesome. So I really do appreciate it. As a committee, I brought Bruce and Susan, they've been here way longer than I have. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
How do you propose phasing out this stuff?
So I think we have an opportunity over the next year to reach out to those individuals who are currently using the program. You know, we have some super users, and then we have some just less frequent users, and educate them and meet with them, offer them an opportunity to actually meet with our staff, either via Zoom or in person, and provide them with the information they would need in order to make an informed decision as to what alternative modes of transportation are most suitable for that individual. Because everyone's different, right? But we would do that by staff understanding very well what the other alternative modes of transportation is, ensure that they have access to all those different alternatives.
With everything else, that nobody does a better job than our department. When would you get with the 60 or
So I think that we would need a little bit of time for our existing human services staff to just brush up and make sure they would be experts. And then, so I would think we'd at least need a month or so to brush up on that and create the information and the packet of information needed in order to present it to the individuals. I think we'd have a very comprehensive packet, you know, an introductory letter. And then also, you know, 60 people, we could probably even reach out to each individual person and try to answer the questions, and try to assist them in any way we can. I think we would bend over backwards to make sure people.
well, I don't think there's any question, like you said. No, my only concern, John and I've got a couple of which you're proposing makes imminent sense. So don't take this as a presentation. I'm just concerned about members of the department being overworked with, for the past 14 or 15 months, between contact tracing, setting up the vaccine, doing. I had virtually nobody complain. I had, it wasn't the department. It was the very first week of the vaccinations when somebody forwarded a link which a lot of people signed up with, or thought they were signed up with. Other than that, and that was a problem outside the house. I just, my only concern is that I see you all every day. And I have seen a lot of people are very tired of that. Well, and when I hear you're taking on something else, just a concern. And I know you thought about that. I'm not questioning any of the three of you, but thought of something.
So the only part that I worry about is the financial part of people finding transportation. And so I just want to make sure that we research, you know, different ways. You know, how there's some people that get taxi, cab, vouchers, or there's townships that give money towards transportation. If we can find places that can help them financially, getting to wherever they're going. And if you need help in your department with reaching 60 people, I offer my volunteerism.
Thank you.
Because it, it sounds like it's a sound fiscal thing to do, but I am worried about people getting to where they need to get to without a further financial burden.
Internet, at all.
Oh, no. I'd be happy to drive them. If it wasn't all this COVID stuff.
We'll add that to the list then.
Yeah, right.
Trustee Sucker's point is well taken. As I mentioned to you, the township has reached out saying that they would be happy to try to help in any way on any of the social services thing. And when I will talk about, we'll put that together with John and the mayor. That might be a stopgap. They have some funds for this.
Yeah, good, thank you. Is there a consensus?
Is there a consensus? Yeah.
Thank you for everything.
Can I ask one question before they leave?
Yeah.
Mike was here earlier, I'm talking to Bruce Sue here, and he was telling us, in one of his other hats he was wearing, about a booster maybe needed. Are we ready?
Is who ready?
I don't care if he's ready, I'm looking at you.
I don't know. I mean, I heard something this morning saying that the vaccine only works for 6 to 9 months. I'm not sure that I believe that. These are all prospective studies. I believe there will be a booster. How it will be delivered, I don't know. You can't put an mRNA into a flu shot, so it would be a separate booster. There will be boosters, yes. Don't ask me when. And I don't want to think about it later. I want to be able to sleep tonight, so yes.
You know, let me.
Okay, Ellen.
But not an expert.
Sorry to put it down.
No.
It's okay.
We'll cross that bridge when.
We will.
How's that?
Yeah. Well, one step at a time. I'm happy Pfizer gets to stay in the refrigerator for 30 days now. I'm very happy. Yeah. a little.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Great job. Bye, Sue. Bye, Bruce. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you, Mayor and trustees. Every year, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, the village provides grant funds to Skokie nonprofit organizations and government entities for community events and performances. This year, the FY22 grant programming budget is decreasing by a little under $44,000. This is mainly the result of the 4th of July events and the Festival of Culture being canceled due to the COVID-19 pandemic. With that, I would be happy to answer any questions on the grants. Yes, sir.
The only questions I have is about the Bangkok Dash for July parade. It's 25 grand that stay in the budget.
The Backlot Bash, we still haven't made an ultimate decision. We're still looking to see if we can host it.
Oh, so we just keep just in case. What about the
Yes, sir.
4th of July?
We put it in here because at the time for the 4th of July parade, we had known we were going to cancel the fireworks, but we were still up in the air about the parade. So
Oh, that would be great.
so now we know that the 4th of July parade is canceled, so that'd be another $13,000 in savings.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. We received a public comment from Go Green Skokie, and it was distributed before the budget hearing started this evening. All of you should have seen that on the table. And it is regarding the refuse fee, waste reduction, the Sustainable Environment Advisory Commission, and financial hardship. And so that was provided. Have there been any additional citizen comments?
They're not.
And that completes the public comment.
And that completes the budget. And John, point out, right on your schedule.